All right, Mr. Miyagi-style. Happy Tuesday. I haven't been on for a while, so did you guys miss me? No? Oh well. Okay, guys. I'm going to try and make this as short as I can. I'm not going to give you a time because somebody said, oh, yeah, half an hour. It's not half an hour. I'm just going to go over a few things. It's mostly accessories. So first, I'm going to go through a couple of accessories, 3 accessories from Insta360 first. And I'm going to go through some third-party stuff. And if I have time, I'll just go through some of the stuff that I've made from a 3D printer. So I'm going to have my coffee, my cappuccino. Like my new haircut. Okay, guys. First and foremost. The GPS remote. The 2 big ones are the GPS remote and the multi-mount. The GPS remote I've had for about 3 weeks now, and I've been playing around with it a lot. I love it. Simple answer. There's a couple glitches, and I'll go through those with you. Screen is gorgeous on this thing. Touch is amazing. To be able to control my camera via the remote, then seeing it on the screen, my settings, the preview, and stuff like that is phenomenal. It's a great idea. And I don't know why the other cameras don't have this. And I think DJI has something similar, but it's nothing like this. It's not smooth. Whereas this is super smooth. I think it has an AMOLED screen on there, touch screen on there. So it's cool that you can actually see all the settings on here. The other thing that's really big on this is the stats. If you're doing the stats quite a bit, the stats feature where you can put the speedometer, elevation, speed, and that kind of thing on the actual video itself. If you're doing driving or walking or hiking or skiing or whatever, I did on the skiing video, which is kind of cool. It's so much easier to do it with the remote. You don't have to fiddle around with your phone or to fiddle around with your device, your Apple Watch or your Garmin device. It was hit and miss for me. Sometimes it would work, sometimes it wouldn't work. This one, guarantee it's going to work. As long as this is on and it has GPS tracked in and you're recording, it will pull the data from the GPS remote, and it's dead on, so which is kind of nice. There's been a few options where I had to use this and I'm not near my camera. It's so nice because the distance on this remote to the camera is quite long, so you get a good remote control off this this GPS preview remote. The other thing that's really nice about this is that it's actually really quick. It has the dashboard which can track right on the remote instead of your speed and that kind of thing. Has a compass option and quite a bit of settings. Actually has the ability to wake your camera up when you turn it on. So when you turn this on, guys, so it actually automatically wakes up my Ace Pro, which is kind of cool. The other thing that's really cool about this, and I didn't even notice this, and nobody's already mentioned this, is that the recording function of this. So when you turn it on, it'll actually turn on the camera, wake the camera up, and it will go through the connection process, the Bluetooth connection process to get the preview. Now that process is a little long. It's anywhere from 30 seconds to 45 seconds to get it connected, to get that preview so you can start remote controlling the Ace Pro. That said, what I've been doing is that I've been turning the remote. The battery is quite long. It lasts for a long time on a remote per charge. So what I've been doing is when I go, I turn this remote on right away, okay? Because it does take, depending on where you are and your location, if you're in a car or in a building or whatever, it does take a while to track into the GPS satellites. Once it tracks in, it locks on pretty good, and the signals are usually pretty good. So what I do is when I get in my car, I turn this on right away, because I got to give it a minute to track that GPS, right? And it will turn on my camera automatically. You can set it so it doesn't turn on the camera, it just turns on the remote. The neat thing about this is you want that Bluetooth wake, because for it to work, so let's say if I have this remote on and I'll turn this on and I'm not using my camera right. I'll shut off my camera either via the remote or I do it manually. So my remote's always on. So let's say if I'm driving and it's on my dashboard and I want to record something, and instead of going to press and keeping that turning on the power button of the camera and then waiting for it and then hitting the record button, you may have lost that shot. The neat thing about this, if this is on and your camera is off, when you hit the record button, it will actually send a signal to the camera and wake it up and put it on record mode almost immediately. So it actually starts the camera and starts recording the camera within, I would say probably within 3-4 seconds, which is really fast. And then it goes through the connecting process. which is really cool. So what that means is basically it's going through the connecting process to connect to the Bluetooth via Bluetooth to get that preview screen. Now you can see it on the screen and stop it and change the recording. But the cool thing about that is when you hit the record button, remember that it's a record button, when the remote is on, it will actually start recording the camera almost right away, which is cool. So if you're on the dashboard, you hit that, you're not likely going to miss what you want to capture. So that's kind of cool. And then the rest of the thing is just via the remote control. Now I've run into two problems with the remote. It's not a perfect remote. It's a great remote. It's very useful. The first problem is that intermittently, it's happened about maybe 3 or 4 times now, and I've used this quite a bit. It would just disconnect from my Ace Pro. It's weird. It makes that noise, and then the camera says remote disconnected, and then I lose the screen, the preview screen. I'm not sure if this is a sleep thing with Bluetooth or whatever. But it's only happened a few times. It's not every time that I have this that I use a remote. So it's got to be something, either the camera or the remote. Maybe there's a glitch or there's a little bug in it. But all you have to do is just shut off the remote and then turn it back on, and it reconnects to the Ace Pro, and then you're back in business again. The other problem is the compass mode. So the compass works when it's in the right position. Okay, like when you're looking at it this way. If you change the orientation of this remote, let's say 90 degrees or 180 or whatever, the compass wheel works fine. Okay, so wherever you direct it, point it to, it's going to point to that direction, north, south, whatever, right? The center has the letter of the direction west, W for west, east, E for east, etc. And it has the degrees, the 360 degree underneath that letter. Now, it's weird because the compass wheel works, but the letter and the degrees is wrong. Unless I'm reading it wrong, but somebody had brought this up to my attention, and I've noticed that as well. So I'm not sure if that's a bug, but it only does it when you change orientation on the actual remote. I don't use a compass a lot, so it's not. I have a phone, I have a watch that does that, so I don't really. It's not a big deal for me. The disconnecting part, I would like to see that get fixed. I sent that to Insta360 to have them look at and see if they've noticed this issue as well. Other than that, I haven't had any issues with this remote. It's served me well, and it's doing a great job, and I love using it. I actually usually just when I drive, I usually bring it with me all the time. But it'll be good for trips and that kind of stuff as well. And I'll be bringing this with me. You'll notice that there's a white thing around my remote. Okay, so when you get this remote, you get 2 things. Well, I get 3 things. You get the charging unit and the cable, and you get the mounts. One is a handlebar or pole mount in a silicone case. So you just slip the remote into the silicone. It holds it pretty good. It holds it in there pretty good. It's not easy to pop this thing out. And then there's a watch version. So basically, strap it out. Now, the only problem with the watch version is that some people have complained that the straps are not long enough here to adjust. So for me, I don't have a very thick wrist, and I'm actually at the last 3 notches of the watch, which is not very good because I have a thin wrist. People with thick wrists, and somebody I mentioned already in my channel, they couldn't get it to fit theirs because they have a thicker wrist and it doesn't fit around. And there's no alternative to this, and I don't know why they went this route. Is they should have went with an adjustable or replaceable band. Like most watches now, right? Just a 21, 22, or 20 millimeter pin. And then you can just buy your own adjustment, or they can even just sell a longer strap that you can replace yourself, right? That's just common sense for any watch. I'm not sure where they went this route. I sent that to Insta360. Hopefully they'll have some sort of a remedy for this, because this is a one piece. And if you can't fit this, this is basically garbage. It's useless. So maybe there's an extender, or they're going to come out with another optional, longer watch band for it. Who knows? We'll see what they do. Anyways, so you get those 2 things, but those are to mount your GPS. I don't always use the watch, and I very rarely use the handlebar one. I haven't gone bike riding, and I probably will do it when I go bike riding. But I really like this option. A necklace option should have been something standard, even like a little case like this that gives you a necklace option. So what I did was I actually took the remote and I measured it up, and I actually designed a mold for this remote. I actually have a mold for the Ace Pro and the remote now, so I can design around it. You'll see what I mean when I show you a couple other things too. So this one is actually 2 pieces. And it's not, I'm not using TPU. TPU is it's basically like a soft rubber plastic that's stretchable, that's bendable. The reason why I don't work with TPU is they're a nightmare to work with, and I have to print at the lowest, slowest speed. And literally, this would take probably, I would say, 12 hours to print for me to do this. And I went through probably 12, 13 prototypes before I got it right, because it's hard to get this fitting in there so it's actually tight in here that it won't fall out. So this one has, there's two types right now. I made two. One is with the finger mount. You'll see on here, just like a typical, like a action camera finger mount that you can mount on, you know, on a stick or like one of these sticks or whatever, right? And I also created the nice thing about the two pieces, the top will be the same. I just have to redesign the bottom piece, the base unit. So I designed a base unit that actually just has a ring for like a carabiner or wrist strap or necklace or whatever. But I kind of like the finger mount, so I might just stick with that for now, because I also designed a doohickey gadget that just fits over this. And then you just screw this in. And it has a loophole on it that acts like a necklace hole. So you can take a lanyard, clip it in here, and now you have a necklace you can put around you. And I actually use it quite a bit, because when I go on hikes, I don't wear a watch. I just have this, and I just put it up, and I just play with it, and I just drop it down, and it's very useful. So this is basically two pieces that's held together by two M4 screws. So that's why I like this one, because I know there's another piece, but then you have to unscrew, mount, screw it back in. It's just a pain in the rear, right? So I just designed a finger mount with this adapter, so you don't really need this piece anymore. So I probably won't make these anymore. So just stick with this one. This is a glow in the dark filament. So basically it's white. I'll put some pictures up of all the stuff that I mentioned here, links and pictures. So there's a picture of this in my car at night, and it actually glows green. So it sits on my dashboard. I actually designed a little holster for this in my car. So I just pop this clip off like this, and there's a little holster in my car by my dash. This just slides in and sits like that on my dashboard. So, and you'll see pictures of that as well. Anyways, there's the remote. Great remote. Couple of issues. I'm addressing the issues with Insta360. Hopefully they'll take it into consideration or not. Who knows? Nobody listens to me anyways. I just rant and rant and rant. I'm not ranting. I'm actually talking about stuff. So no complaints. Lots of videos out there. Take a look, guys. There's guys putting it on drones now. There's the one video of the by Insta360 on the durability test. You see that one where they're taking the camera and opening coconuts with it and stuff like that. That's great, because there's been times when I'm at the resort in Jamaica and I have a coconut and I have nothing to open it up with. Now I know what to open up the coconut with my Ace Pro. How impressive that's going to be if I open up a coconut with my action cam on the beach. Yeah, right? Second thing, multi-mount. I'm going to be really quick with this. I think I already did a short review of this. I've had a month with this, and I really like this thing because of the tripod. I've been doing a lot of food blogs as well, or vlogs, whatever you want to call it. And this has been really a lifesaver because of the tripod and the way it can angle itself. You can actually adjust the gooseneck and everything on it. And there's been times, because my kitchen's not big, I'm moving the camera constantly over, and I just quickly adjust to point at the counter, point at the stove, point at whatever, right? And this is really easy to work with. And I have to say, I have a knockoff version of this, kind of like this one. It doesn't do as much, but it's similar. It's like a folding. It doesn't even have a tripod that folds out. It has a stand, but it's actually hidden. You have to pull it out, unscrew it in. It's a pain. This one just flips right out, right? And it's nowhere near the durability of this multi-mount. Like the one that I have is by Telesin. It's just so thin, the plastic. I've already broken it once. This one I actually dropped on tile, and it doesn't even have a scratch on it, I don't think. Yeah, and it's quite durable. But yeah, guys, they're not cheap, unfortunately. The remote's $200 for the preview remote. If you can't afford it, a nice thing with the Insta360 Ace Pro is that the last firmware, they've made it compatible with the earlier remote, the original one, which is not a preview remote. It just has a simple LED screen on it. It's kind of similar to the GoPro one, but it's $100. The GPS Preview Remote is $200 Canadian. So it's a little hefty, but for me it's worth it because the screen is gorgeous. I can control it on the screen. I can do remote functions. I turn on record with that remote, and I don't really have to ever touch my camera once that remote's on. Multi-mount, I think this is about $80. The generic ones are about 15, 20 bucks. I've already broken it once. I had to replace. I'm on my second one. So, would I recommend this? Absolutely, because this thing, funny thing is, when I first got it, I never thought I would use it a lot, but I have this thing with me all the time. My two ongoing remotes are these two. So if I want something light, and something I can beat somebody with, I go with this one. It's just lighter, and it actually extends longer. So, this one is not as long, but it's more versatile in terms of different angles and mounting. So if I want to mount it on a wall, I can do it with this. I cannot do it with this. So these two always come with me when I'm out. They both have different, and they both have quick mounting systems on them, so I can just switch it from one to the other very quickly. That said, great thing. The other thing is vertical, horizontal brackets on these. I never thought I would use this because it's kind of weird looking. So this is a little L bracket, right? But I've been using it a lot because it does have, and I never thought I would shoot vertical on the action cam, but I have been with this one for vlogging, food vlogging, when I do cooking stuff, recipes. The reason why I use it vertically is because a lot of it goes on TikTok and they prefer vertical rather than horizontal. So I do all my food vlogs vertical now. It's just easier for different platforms. And this has been a really godsend for this, because this setup, normally I would use like my Sony Alpha camera or a regular size digital SLR to vlog. But it's gotten to the point where it's so bulky, and there's been times where when I'm cooking, my hands are dirty and I'm touching my camera and I'm getting like flour and grease all over my camera. I'm always cleaning it afterwards, right? With this is kind of nice because I have the screen that flips out. So let's say if I'm vlogging and I'm doing it, I'm doing it vertically, and I have the screen out, which is kind of cool, because I can vlog this way. So let's say it's on the multi-mount, and it's vlogging this way. I can see basically full screen of what I'm doing. And the other thing I really thought was cool that I didn't think I would use a lot is the hand and voice gestures. Because when your hands are dirty, when you're cooking, it's actually really useful. The voice is okay. The reason why I have both on is because when I cook, I have loud music on. So that kind of gets in the way with the voice gesture. So the hand gesture is kind of cool, because I do excerpts of my cooking, because my cooking is prep time and cooking is long. So, you know, for you to watch the entire whole thing, you'd be bored to death. Just like here, I keep talking, but I edit a lot of this stuff out that I don't think is important, or I make it as short as I can, right? So you guys don't get bored, and you guys still get bored. And this is important stuff. I'm not ranting about stupid stuff. So the neat thing about that is I put up my hand stops, and I move on to the next segment of the cooking. Put up my hand starts, and I can do this, and I'm not touching my camera, which is really cool. And sometimes I'll use voice. Sometimes I'll use my hand. My music's not loud. It's easier for me to do voice because sometimes my hands are dirty. If my hand stuff flying out of my hands, right? So it's kind of neat to have that option on the camera, because I know most cameras have voice, but I think Ace Pro is the only one that has gesture control, which I find really useful, again, if there's loud music playing in the background, which I always have when I'm cooking. So there's the useful part of people saying, oh, what would I use that for? Well, that's one that you could use it for, right? So I'm not sure if you guys will use that feature. But anyways, that's the L bracket, the vertical and the horizontal bracket. Very useful, in my opinion anyways. So I'm going to put these away. So now I'm going to get into the aftermarket stuff. Those are the Insta360 stuff. There's links at the bottom. You can go and buy the stuff on their site. I'm not being paid, so I'm not, you guys don't have to buy it. Even my selfie stick is not an Insta360 selfie stick. It's a knockoff. It's actually a really nice stick. It looks identical to the Insta360. I think it's probably by the same company. It's actually a stick called Designed for Bullet Time. So it was designed for a different company, but it looks identical to the and it's even built like the Insta360 selfie stick. I'm pretty sure it's probably the same company that makes it. It's just branded differently. I actually ordered another one. I like this one. This one's really long. I actually ordered another one that I'm going to carry around with me all the time. It's actually a little bit shorter. And it still extends quite long. Not as long as this one, but long enough for me to do vlogging if I have to. So that's coming. And they're cheap. I got this for like $12. And the other one I got was $9. Anyways, that's the aftermarket. Oh, some aftermarket stuff. Oh yeah, look at this. My Dual. I printed that. So I'm filming off the DJI A4. I hope it ends up good. But yeah, I have a dual mount. So I do a lot of comparisons with the A4 and the Ace Pro. I've been doing a lot of, because there's been a lot of talk about quality, detail, colors, and stuff like that between the DJI, the GoPro, and the Ace Pro. I'm just not going to bother with the GoPro 12 because I think, honestly, I'm going to say this right now. I think the GoPro 12 is a waste of money. It has a couple of good options, but the majority overall use and with its still chronic issues, people are jumping ship from GoPro and they need to smarten up. This GoPro 13 better be damn good or GoPro is going to be in a lot of trouble. Anyways, guys, that's just my opinion only. I'm not a big fan of it. I still have their cameras, and I two of the cameras I love. Don't get me wrong, I used to be a big GoPro fan. I'll take the DJI now, hands down, over the GoPro if I had another choice. I just love the DJI product, and they have a bigger sensor. I think their quality is phenomenal. They do have their problems too. Every camera has their problems. There's no perfect camera, guys. Every camera has a strength and weakness. And I say this every time. You know, if it works for you, then yeah, absolutely. GoPro has some nice features that people will use in their line of work or their action, right? DJI has theirs, and Ace Pro has theirs. But as an overall fun camera to use, that just gives you good results in any condition. Okay, that's the key. In any condition, low light as well as light. It may not give you the best bright light condition as well as GoPro, but GoPro's had 12 cameras to work on that, guys. Let's be realistic here, okay? You know, it may not have the best stabilization as GoPro, but it does good. I shoot day all the time. It looks great. And I shoot day with the DJI as well. They both look great. I have two comparisons, and I can tell you exactly which, if you really want to get to it, I'll blow it up. We'll pixel peep and see which one is better, the DJI or the Ace Pro. And you're not going to like my results. I'll tell you that right now. But GoPro, if I can't use that thing in low light, it's no use to me because majority of my shooting, and that's my shooting, is low light to night, right? So this works for me. The DJI works for me because both are good low light cameras. The Ace Pro is a little bit better. Okay. Anyways, that's my rant for the day. You may have a different opinion. That's great. That's your opinion. If you want to buy a GoPro, go buy it. If it works for you, hey, I'm happy for you. Have fun. Anyways, the dual mount. So I do a lot of comparisons, and I actually designed this dual mount. So I needed something that will do dual mount big and wide enough because the ones that you can buy in the stores, they're really short. You can buy long ones. They're expensive. They're too short, so when they're side by side with the mounts, the problem with that is the power button, you can't reach it. It's so tight in between that I couldn't put my thumb. So I redesigned to make it wider. So now these two cameras actually are quite wide apart. Enough that there's room for me to touch on the power button on the DJI. No problem because this one's on. One of them's outside, one of them's inside, right? So you can't win. I also designed this so on the remote. Remember the remote? The design I'm going to shut this off. All right. So you'll see on the back here, I've also got a third mount. Okay. So what is that for? The remote. See? Ta-da! So now I have this on my. So if I have it on a stick and I'm doing double, see, I have the two cameras here. And I can adjust this so this goes down like this, and I can actually control the remote with my thumb on here, and I can see on here as well. So that's kind of cool. Anyways, it was just a thought to use a remote with a dual. That's it. That's that. I just printed that out. design it. Okay, aftermarket stuff, guys. I'm gonna go through this really quickly. I don't want this to be too long of a segment, because I know you guys get bored of me ranting. First and foremost, this is so cheap. Okay, so the reason why I have this is because when I put, if I don't have the holster thing, and I need to put my camera, store it away somewhere, I don't like putting it here because I can scratch this, I can scratch this, I can crack this, I can scratch whatever, right? I just put it in here and just, it just gives it a nice, it's neoprene, gives it a nice protection, and just put it in a bag to store or whatever, right? It's cheap. They're like $3 for one. You buy them on AliExpress, so it's a nice little protection, especially when you're near water and stuff. It gives you a little bit better protection. One is this. I like this one because it's a little smaller profile. Unfortunately, this one with the cage, it won't fit because it's too small. There's actually, I ordered a bigger one, so it's coming in. And I ordered one for my DJI as well as the Ace Pro. So basically this just fits in. You close it and you just zip it halfway, and then you've got protection. And it's nice and a small profile that you can just put in a bag or whatever to throw in the back seat or whatever. So it gives you that protection from the lens. I'm always protecting my lenses and displays because honestly, those are the first things that get scratched or broken. And I can't do scratch lenses. It just freaks me out. My OCD kicks in and I'm done. That's the case. Done. So what else we clips. So I ordered another quick connect. This one's actually cheaper. It's a knockoff. There's no brand name on this. It's very similar to the VRIG and the quick connect that the Ace Pro has. It doesn't have a lock, right? It does have the finger tabs that pop down, right? This was, I think, the cheapest, and it locks on pretty good. The other thing I don't like about this is finger tabs when you're connected. It has a bit of a play. You have to really tighten it. So that's the only thing. Not a big deal. But connecting wise, lock wise, it's on there solid. Once it connects and clicks, it ain't going anywhere. So this was, I think, cheapest. I think it was $14. The VRIG was almost $20. And the quick connect from Ace Pro is like $50. It's nice though. I do like I have it. I do like it because of the secondary lock. There are some times where I'm near ledges, or I've got on top of a car, or somewhere. If I lose it, my camera is gone. That I would use that mount because it has that secondary lock, gives you a big peace of mind, gives that extra security as well. So that's where that would come in and be useful, and it's worth the $50 rather than losing a $500 camera. That's it. Lens protectors. I just got my lens protector in for, it's a 2-pack that has 3 pieces. So the lens, 2 displays, front and back. These are glass protectors. So far they're staying on really good. I won't take this underwater without a dive case. That's simple. Because if I take this underwater without a dive case, chances are those things are starting to pop off, the lens protectors. I don't know how waterproof they are. I have dive cases, so it's not a big deal for me. So far, no image distortion for the lens tempered glass that I could see. I've done indoor testing with it. I haven't seen any degradation, not to me anyways. There may be some, there always is when you put another layer of protection on the lens. That's simple. They even say if you want to shoot like GoPro or DJI, if you want to shoot the best quality, pop the lens guard off. Don't have anything in front of the actual lens. You can actually get one stop less for shooting, so that means that that's more light in. But yeah, I you know, and if you get something that hits that lens, you can throw that camera away. It's a paperweight, right? But anyways, I don't see any, not enough for me to worry about if there is any lens quality degradation. I didn't see any excessive flaring. I think some people have said there was some flaring on it. Any lens will flare if you have it at the right angle. It doesn't matter if you have that protector on or not. It's just the animal of a lens protector. So those are working really well, the lens protector, and they're not expensive. I get them 2-pack, 3-packs, and they're usually about $6, $7, $10 for a 3-pack, 3-pack set. And they work really well for protection. You can use the UV filters, which I originally have, and I have 2 of those things. The only reason I don't like about the UV filters is it just gives it an extra bulk. and I just stopped using it. And it is a UV, so it does give you that extra UV protection as well as impact protection. I carry it with me just in case I need it. I'll use that as well. The other thing too, I'll get to this last. The dive case. This was a $24 dive case. It's a Telesin, I think. Telesin dive case. It's a third party. So comparatively, how does it compare? I also have the OEM one from Insta360. What I do like and what I don't like about this case compared to the Insta360, I'll tell you that the Insta360 has a fault as well. The one thing I do like about this case is price. I have probably 12 to 14 dive cases, and for all my cameras, and sometimes I have 2 for each camera just in case I need a backup. This is great because I'm going to bring both cases with me. I'm going to bring the Insta360, I'll bring this one. I always have 2 for my main camera just in case something happens to one. I have another one. The knockoff case I like because it does have the cold shoe. I don't know what I would use that for, but if you're using it out of the water, you have cold shoe mounts, so which is kind of cool. It does have the secondary lock mechanism to open, so you can't open it without pulling that lock tab over. The one thing I like about this compared to the 360, when you close, you can usually tell if you're going to have good waterproofing. Okay. Other than, making sure your seal is properly, there's no obstruction in the seal. When you close it like this and you cinch it in and you close that tab and it closes tight, you have a good seal. Okay. I don't find this tightness when I close with the 360 OEM case. So I'm a little concerned about that. And I did take it with me to Cuba to use it, and I didn't have any problems with leaking when I was snorkeling. So that tells me that it's creating a good enough seal that but I haven't really taken any of these cases to a real dive scenario where I'm at 60 to 100 feet. I was going to a Cuba, but I never dove in Cuba just because of the weather. But I'll be in July diving in Jamaica, so I will be going down to 100 feet. So I'm going to probably try both cases and see how they work. Worst comes to worst, you get a little bit of a leak, but the camera's waterproof. So as long as you don't have that pressurized leak, then you're okay, as long as it stays in that case. The other thing I compared to the OEM one, the OEM case is a little thicker. It's bulkier. It's a little bit more heavy too. So I think the plastic is thicker. So is that going to matter? I have cheap cases that I use for my DJI and my GoPro, and they've never had any issues. Third-party cases, so I don't think this will have an issue either. And the buttons are not as smooth as the Insta360 one. It's a little stiff, but I think over time and some use that will probably loosen up a little bit. But it works. I'll have a video link at the end of this video. I actually took this for a pool night when I was doing some teaching, and I had it just about 10 feet, and no leaks. It seems to be working fine. No problems with the lens in terms of quality wise. Again, there's probably degradation because I've got a tempered glass, plus I have this on top of that. There's going to be some image quality, but really not that noticeable that I can see, and you'll see in the footage, right? It's actually really quite clear underwater. Anyways, that's the dive housing. So works good. Okay, cages. Okay, I have 3. These are all third party. I don't know if you can see this. So first one I got was a silicone case. I like the silicone cases because it's easy to put on. It's like a glove. And it bounces your camera when you drop it. Because it's silicone, right? Silicone is probably one of the best protections for any device, right? Just because it's a shock absorbent. It goes on nice. 2 things I do not like about this case. 1, I don't like the way the buttons are situated, what the button feel is, because sometimes when you press it, it actually moves, that silicone. So you're not getting that right pressure on the on button and the record button. And the odd time will miss because it does move a little bit, right? That's the only thing I don't like about it. The second thing is at the bottom where the quick mount goes on. This piece right here sometimes get in the way. I think it's a little bit too small. So when I'm fiddling around with this, I had it on my helmet for skiing. I'm like, and I couldn't get it on my helmet because this piece kept getting in the way of the one of the prongs. So that's the one thing I don't like about silicone cases, because the actual silicone will move around when you're trying to put on a mount or trying to press the button, that kind of thing. But as a silicone case, it's great protection because it's a shock absorbent, right? Anyways, that's a silicone case, but cheap. $7, I think, it's Canadian. I bought it for $7, so not a big deal. I'll use it the odd time here and there, and it looks nice on it too. Okay, second one I got was the aluminum case. Now this one has a lever that you press down and it opens up like a clamshell, and you slide that thing in and it closes it. It's not bad. You know, it gives a good cage around it for protection. Unfortunately, when I think I mentioned this before, when I got this case, for some weird reason, on the advertising, there was supposed to be a cold shoe mount on top and on the side. This one only has it on the side, but not on the top. So it wasn't, they sent me something that wasn't advertised. So I disputed it. They gave me half my money back, but I got a cage out of it for half price. So it ended up costing me like $10 for the cage. So not bad. I'm not going to cry. It still does the job. It still protects it. The only problem with metal cages is a lot of people have complained. They look really nice. They tend to have more bulk. They're heavier. Even though they're aluminum, they're still heavy. And some people have reported that the aluminum has scratched their camera, putting it in and taking it out. So yeah, I can see where it would scratch a camera on these edges. If you don't put it in right, you try to jam it in, it's going to nick my camera, right? And it is metal. So metal against plastic, metal is always going to win. That said, it's okay for what I paid for. So this is the polymer case. So this is a complete, it's like the aMagisn aluminum one, but it's all polymer, it's all plastic. I like it better, okay, for a couple reasons. It's not going to scratch my camera because it's plastic. And I'm always near water, especially salt water, okay? And even though it's aluminum, aluminum will corrode, believe it or not, if it's been exposed to salt water for a long period of time. If it's been stagnant or it's been sitting in salt water, it will corrode the aluminum, okay? So that's a misconception when they say aluminum doesn't corrode. It does corrode. Salt will destroy pretty much anything when it's in its path, right, for a long period of time, especially. So this is plastic, and it's not a clamshell. I wish it would open up. It's just easier to get in if it opens up, but I don't think it does. I didn't really look at it. I don't think it does. Yeah, it's like a clamp, so it just loosens the frame. You have to slide this in to get it in there. Once you slide it on the way back, you just clamp it down, and now you've got a nice case. I really like this case. I'll probably be using this when I'm at a resort, like when I'm around about, because it gives you a nice protection. It does have the hot shoe or the cold shoe on the top. It is plastic, and it has a side mount, 1/4 inch, as well as a quick mount. So being that that's cool, so this will allow me to also shoot in a horizontal and a vertical position, which is kind of cool. By using, it's like the one that DJI comes with a similar case like this as part of their camera, but it doesn't allow you to mount. Oh, it does. Yeah, it allows you to mount sideways, vertical, as well as horizontal. So I wish this was something that was standard for cameras. Like DJI, they're amazing. Their Action 4 comes with this plastic case with it, and that should be standard. But I like this, and I'm probably going to be using the plastic case. What I don't like about this case, it's really hard to get the camera out. The reason why is because it's not a clamshell. It just kind of opens up, and you have to slide that camera out front ways. The problem with that is the 2 buttons that open up the screen keeps catching on the frame. So you have to kind of watch when you're sliding it out that you make sure those buttons don't catch the frame, which it's done it again here. Where's it caught on? So you kind of have to open up the frame to get it out, and it's not something I would do constantly. It's a tight fit. I wish this would open up like this. You know, where this is smart. It has a little lever. It opens up and you slide it in. And I wish it did that. I think you can buy ones that can do that. This is the aMagisn one, and it doesn't open up. It's too bad because this is. I don't think it does. Does it? I'm gonna break it. No, I don't think it does. But yeah, but if you get it in there, once it's in there, it's a great. I just hope I don't when it catches and break it off or something. I shouldn't. It just these two little knobs here that unlock the screen, open up. It catches on the side bracket. So when you try to slide it out, it's like blocking. You kind of have to bend the frame a little bit to get it out. That's the only thing I don't like about this case. Oh, that's a great case. That said, that's the case. Now, last but not least. So I finally got this. I ordered this the week after I got my a week after Ace Pro was released. When everyone was talking about the lens guard not being replaceable, blah 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 blah. It is replaceable. It is removable. You know what? It's just not sanctioned by Insta360. That's all. They want to fix it in a closed environment where there's no dust and there's no water, there's no whatever. Does that make sense? To me, no. Because if DJI and GoPro could do it, I don't see why it's a problem. There's no difference between this lens and GoPro, or maybe it's a spec by Leica. I have no clue because it is co-engineered with Leica. There's no reason for them to tell me that I can't replace this on myself. Because if I'm somewhere remote and I have no means of getting my camera to get it repaired to Insta360 and my screen breaks, does that mean I don't have a camera to use for the week or 2 weeks or the month? You know what I mean? Because I'm pretty sure if I send it to the Insta360, if I'm on vacation, I'm not going to get it back before I leave for my vacation. Therefore, I don't have a camera anyways, right? So it doesn't really make sense. So by that, it's not logical for me to just put this camera away. If I get there the first day and I break my lens, then I'm going to have to put this camera away. It's useless to me, right? So, and I understand that Insta360 has addressed this issue by giving us that free 1-year replacement with no cost other than the shipping. And that's great that they've done that because remember that GoPro 8 didn't have a removable screen. And people were bitching about that, and GoPro did nothing, right? And you can now buy third-party replaceable screens for GoPro 8, and they work just fine. Okay. Now, with that said, the only company that makes this replaceable screen is a company called aMagisn. They make a whole bunch of accessories. Case in point, the plastic, which is an aMagisn. They make clips, quick connects. They make a whole bunch of stuff. It is replaceable. So if I'm remotely somewhere and I break my camera and I'm on the second day of my vacation and that's my only camera I can use to take down footage or memories, you can bet your life that I'll replace it with that thing because I understand Insta360 will give us that opportunity to replace the screen for free, but at that time I can't do that. And do I go through my entire vacation without any footage, any memories? No, I'm going to replace it with this. Okay, I'm sorry, but you know, I think anybody would probably think the same, right? It's just not logical for them not to have a replaceable screen or tell us that we can't do that because we're the ones in the field with the camera, with a broken camera that we can't use. That why we bought the camera for, right? So it could very well, you guys, this is use on your own risk. It could very well void your warranty. But I would say it would be very hard for Insta360 to tell that you removed that on purpose, because we've seen footage of some guy throwing a camera off of a motorcycle, and the camera was fine, but the lens guard popped right off. So and it wasn't even broken. So how do they know that it was removed on purpose? Because through a sample video, somebody had dropped it and it actually popped right off. So I don't know, guys. I would rather have a camera that I can use for the rest of the week because I have a replacement than no camera. Okay, so I'm just putting it out there. But again, they have said that if you do it under your 1 year, it could void your warranty. Could. It would be hard to prove. That's all I'm saying. That said, I'm not going against, and I appreciate that Insta360 is giving us that opportunity for free replacement for a year, which is excellent. But after the year, what are we going to do, right? Is this what we're going to be using after the 1 year period? Probably, yeah. Maybe Insta360 will start making these lenses and start selling them, and for us to replace, right, after the 1 year period. I heard through the grapevine they'll charge you if you can still send it in after your 1 year. I think it's going to be like $20 US to replace plus shipping. Well, yeah, I don't think a lot of people are going to do that, to be honest with you. People will just replace that screen. And there's been people that have done it, and it's been fine. Now, here's the bad news. This aMagisn is the only company that makes these right now, because we're still relatively early into the launch of this camera. It's only, what, 2 months old, right? So I've only seen this company, and since the beginning, this company has made this screen. There's a YouTuber. His name is Bassman Strikes. We're acquaintances, and we've been kind of looking at this replacement lens since the beginning. And he actually popped his off a while back ago, and he's been doing a lot of testing with this replacement lens. The bad news is I would not use this underwater. Okay, he actually tested underwater. There was actually a leak through the lens, and it wasn't because if you look at this lens, it has a threaded screw that locks in. It does lock, and there is an O-ring that protects the main lens cavity. Okay, that's not the problem. The problem is that the water wasn't getting in from here. Okay, the water is actually coming in from where the lens sits on the frame, because Bassman Strike found out that the lens itself wasn't mounted very strong. It was actually mounted with just a double stick tape. So waterproofing, no. If you're going to use this on the water, I would pop that lens out and just use marine silicone and glue that sucker right down, just to make sure, because it's not water. I wouldn't take this underwater, to be honest with you. Now, for impact, crack lenses, if somebody hits my lens, scratches, crack, it's great. It's a perfect solution to replace the lens with. So for impact, if you break your lens, if you scratch your lens, this is a great alternative. If you can't get to Insta360 replacement plan, this is a great alternative to do that. For underwater, no. I wouldn't use it underwater. If you're going to use it underwater with that third party, put this on, because you're going to ruin your camera. I'm going to tell you that right now, and they will not cover your repair on that. You're going to pay a hefty amount. So that said, it's a great start that we know that it's replaceable. For impact, it's a perfect solution. It's a great solution. If you can't get to 360's replacement plan, and if you're past your warranty period, obviously, right? For water use, you can put this on, but if you're going to be underwater, put this on, okay, just to protect yourself. Now, splashing water onto it by the pool, yeah, that's not going to do anything. Bassman Pro actually had it submersed in water for, I think, a couple hours, and it started to leak through. So if you're by the pool and you're splashing water in it, it's not going to get in there. Only if you've got it submersed in water for a period of time, and then it starts to move in and probably lifts that double stick tape up that day. I'm hoping he had submitted a complaint to this company about that. So I'm hoping their next generation, next batch will be they'll be using a marine silicone or marine glue. So, and that will fix the problem. Anyways, that's it, guys. I think I've talked long enough. Any questions? I'll put a link for all these things that I've got here. I've got a couple of videos I'll link to this. A scuba video that I did with dive housing. The links for the Insta360 accessories as well. So if you have any questions, ask. Sorry, this took a little longer than I thought, but I had quite a bit of stuff to cover here. So stay tuned. Hopefully I'll get another video out soon, but I haven't had much to rant about, to be honest with you. It's been good, and I've been keeping busy. So lots of traveling. Maybe I'll get some diving in. I use my camera. Anyways, guys, have a good one. Ciao. Peace. Respect.